All right, well, good late morning. I'll make a quick announcement that if you know people that are coming back this afternoon that aren't here, just pass it on. We are going to be doing a fabulous prizes at the end. So there'll be at least 2 memberships to LCN next year and at least 2 opportunities to attend professional development sessions here at Kent ISD, possibly Kelly Gallagher and Penny Kittle a year from now, which will be next summer. There are also save the date cards out there on Penny Kittle and Kelly Gallagher that should be out there distributed on the table. And I also put the MyULA Network opportunity out there as well. So we'll have opportunities to attend that fabulous prizes. And I've also got a couple of World of Words. You know that strategy for building vocabulary in young students. I'll have kindergarten box and a first grade box to give away there. So we'll have 6 or 7 pretty substantial prizes, and then we'll have our normal smattering of other pieces that are out there of professional literature and stuff. So with that announcement made, please pass it on. We'll do that in this room at about 3:05 after the last session. It's my pleasure to take the opportunity to introduce you to folks that I've gotten to know very well from the Kent District Library. We've been having a lot of conversations, as I've shared with you, around how we can work smarter, not harder. And we talked about this idea that the whole idea of literacy, that we're not the only ones in the field of education looking to get kids to that point, and I know we all know that, but how do we make those connections? It's easy to know, but hard to make those connections. And so I've had the opportunity this year through others to get to know better Lindsay Dorfman and Sarah Magnuson. And they have been awesome in conversation around how to help us come up with ways that we could leverage the support that we're trying to offer the others in literacy. So I'll let them introduce themselves in even more detail. And I'm passing out a flyer that they want you to have access to, so I'll be milling around the room doing that. But please join me in giving them a welcome and thank you.
Thank you. I am Sarah Magnuson, and I'm a youth librarian for Kent District Library. I've been working with them for about 11 years now. And I'm also part of our outreach work group, which reaches out to community members, organizations, and schools, and talks about the resources that we have to offer you, and works to partner with you to bring things, make your life easier, and get the public aware of all of the things that we have to offer. About a year ago, we were discussing in our work group all the amazing databases that we have and how on occasion teachers invited us into the classroom to teach their students how to use the library resources. And I said, it's a shame we can't just teach the teachers. We want to get you guys so excited that you'll be sharing this information with your students from day one. And after about a year of talking and working, we have come here today to talk to you how we're partnering with schools and developing this relationship to give the best that we can to our students. Lindsay is going to start out with what we've been doing with our training for the library staff and teachers.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And we're so pleased to be here, and great work, Sarah, making this connection. And we're happy to share all this wonderful information with you. But I'm here to start by telling you about a partnership that we've recently developed. But first, let me start. My name is Lindsay Dorfman, and I am the Director of Branch Services and Operations for the Kent District Library. And the library is working with the Literacy Center of West Michigan, Grand Rapids Public Library, and Kent ISD to help support children and families in schools around 3rd grade reading. So we are 4 organizations that are dedicated to promoting and growing literacy in our communities, and we've come together to try to help solve this serious problem that we have going on right now around reading proficiency. I don't know if you folks have read the article that came out in the Grand Rapids Business Journal stating that Michigan students are 46th when it comes to 4th grade reading proficiency. So this is a huge problem, and this is all of our problem to try to help solve in the libraries, and these 4 organizations are dedicated to doing that. So last summer, we met and we started brainstorming. How can libraries help to solve this problem? And we came up with these 3 outcome goals. So we want library staff to become knowledgeable about the new third grade reading law and the components of the Read at Home plan. We also want library staff to be empowered to positively support parents and families as they implement their Read at Home plans. And then libraries to work to help increase the number of books that children are reading during the school year and in the summer. So we started working towards that, and it started with this fabulous training that we did in November. So in November, the early literacy coaches from Kent ISD came in and they trained 100 librarians from the Kent District Library and the Grand Rapids Public Library on the components of the third grade reading law and the 5 foundational skills of reading. And it was fantastic. And we knew that from that training, our library staff then would be equipped to help the patrons who come into the library and ask for help around the third grade reading and their Read at Home plans. But we also knew that it was going to do much, much more because librarians are very resourceful people. And if you give a librarian a problem, they're going to do everything that they can in their power to help solve that problem. So our wonderful librarians took this training even further. And we started highlighting the big 5 foundational reading skills everywhere in our library through reading displays and through book lists. Our fabulous librarians even came up with the idea to tag all of the books in our catalog that help support these 5 skills. And Sarah's going to tell you a little bit about that, but now you can just search IRP and phonemic awareness, and you can get the whole list of the books in Kent District Library's catalog that help support that skill. And we are even taking it further. So our librarians have came up with some of the most amazing ideas. We're in the process of creating ready-to-go reading games. So I'm a working mom. I have a kindergartner. He is struggling to read, and there are all these reading activities and games, right, that I can do with him to help support it. But I work 55, 60 hours a week. I don't have time to go on Pinterest and create all these games. And we know that a lot of the parents in our communities are in the very same spot. So what we're doing is creating these reading games that patrons can come in and check out and then take home, or even just take from the library and keep. So parents can then work with their students and help them build those reading skills. We're also creating a county-wide reading incentive program for kids in elementary school. So kids in kindergarten through 3rd grade can join this program that we're going to call I Read Today. And the goal is to have those kids read 1,000 days before they enter 3rd grade. And we're not putting any time limits or constraints. We just want kids to read every day. And so every day that they read, they can cross it out. And when they get to 100 days, they can come in and get a prize. Every 100 days, they can come in and get a prize. And if they read that 1,000 days, we're hoping to be able to give them Kindle Fires equipped with our ebook platform, so the kids can then take the library anywhere they go and read books anywhere. And then lastly, we're working with other community organizations to develop a reading buddy program at the library, where volunteers will work with students just to help them grow those reading skills. Just read out loud with them, play these reading games, and do these activities. And this is just a start. We just got this training in November. So we're continuing to come up with new ideas to help support this. Because in the libraries, we know, again, that this is our problem to help solve. And we're dedicated to help Michigan kids grow as readers and to help you folks as teachers. So that's the work that we're doing. Sarah's going to talk a little bit more, but I would just want to take a couple of minutes to ask you folks some questions. Number one, what do you think about this work that we're doing? Is it... So we're heading in the right direction? Okay. And then the second thing is how do we get the word out to teachers? What we want is for when teachers sit down with their students and with the parents to talk about the IRPs and the read at home plans, we want teachers to say, go to your library. Your librarians can help you. They've got resources to help with this. So how do we get the word out so all teachers, when they're having those conversations, are recommending that their parents and students go to the local library?
I see on your bookmark here, presentations for the parent and community.
Yeah.
Nice to see right away. I have one scheduled at my building.
Okay.
Stopping the summer slide.
Yeah.
I would love for you to come out, but also, do you have just a flyer that kind of summarizes all the stuff for parents?
We do. We have a flyer that we sent out, but yeah, so we can work on getting that out as well.
So that would be a blessing.
Yeah.
It would be great for our parent night.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, or even if you could come to a staff meeting and present to teachers, or even do an assembly during reading month or something, like have a portion of it where you talk to the students about the offensive program to get them excited so they go home and tell their parents
Okay.
about it. That's a good idea.
Great.
I write down some of your
Yeah, that's good.
I just wanted to quickly mention, the whole hope is that these bookmarks will let you know that we want to hear from you about these things. If you don't talk to us, we don't know what you need, and we are more than willing to come out and do this. The contacts that are listed at the bottom of the bookmark is our outreach department, and we're working particularly hard to engage with all of you, and we would love to know about your needs and about your staff training. I know sometimes it's hard to get our foot in the door if you guys have all of your training already booked. Mm-hmm. And we want to start this process now so that by August and September you guys know and have us booked for the rest of the school year for all of your parent night meetings, for your PTO, mm-hmm. for your teacher training days. If you want us to come in and do a presentation on our databases, we want to hear from you. So please spread the word if you need more of these flyers. I was already contacted by a teacher that I had talked to last week who said, I need 50 more of these. Please get them to me. And we can customize them with your closest library branch contact information as well.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted to share, I'm at the middle school level, and we've been having the literacy lunches for a couple of years now, and they are awesome. We have Brad from our Temple nearby KBL comes to our building once a month, and we have like genre days, like it's going to be adventure books this month, and the kids will get their lunch, they'll eat, and then he'll give them a book talk. And just to get the kids inspired and excited about different books has really been a great success.
Yeah, and those literacy lunches are an established program through KDL and available and through many of our branches, not just Kentwood. So thanks for that plug.
Maybe that's even an idea for staff, like if you can't get to their staff meeting, like come in throughout their lunch spans, and if they
there you
go.
go.
There you have you have some of your
We'll follow
books.
you around
Yes.
and offer Cheetos.
Yeah, we can bring some
We
dessert.
can see
Yeah,
the books and how
cookies.
they're labeled. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you'd have to say the same thing like 20 times, but
But-
that way we can have our hands on it. And
Yeah.
then before we have like that meeting with parents about their IRIPs, we can speak from, we saw them, this is what they're going to look like, maybe some of the bags or the games.
Yeah.
That we could,
There you go.
That's an awesome
That's
idea.
wonderful.
And we're going to go a little bit more
Yep.
into the literacy pack that we're developing. But if you have great ideas, if you have games that you've already created in your classroom that you think every child should be able to check out from your library, email
Let us know. Yeah.
Email us a Pinterest link. So, 'cause
She's the
basically-
girl. She'll connect you.
I stay off Pinterest or else I'd never come
I
up
know.
for air. But we are using a lot of those ideas that we're finding online to develop easily reprintable games and put them into these Go Packs that will be available to check out hopefully in the fall. Any other
Alright.
questions for Lindsay?
Thank you.
Comment?
Oh.
One more date, that I'm not sure if you
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit for our reading students. They get to choose a couple books and bring them with them. That was a great resource. They were 50 cents for the younger ones and then $1 for the other ones. I mean, I got hundreds of books, so I just want to throw that out there. I know there's a website, I think, for going to the stuff coming up.
Yep.
Kentwood, they have a lot of areas there coming up, also from there. So that might be a great
Yeah, a lot of the spring book sales are coming up. So yeah, most of our branches have Friends of the Library groups, and they sell books that the community donates, and then also books that we withdraw from our collection. So you can get fabulous deals if you want to build your classroom collections.
Wonderful.
All right, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah.
I get the fob.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Just on the note of book sales, before we converted our wonderful warehouse into new office spaces, we used to host a large one at our service center, and that's probably where you saw all the good deals. The majority of our book sales are now run by our Friends group, but if you go to kdl.org and under our events listing, you can just type in book sale, and you'll find them listed for the next 3 months. So I work at the very north end of the county, so Sand Lake has theirs over the 4th of July weekend, but other branches do them throughout the spring and the fall. Just a note to yourself. Now, if I push these backwards when I start out, I apologize. One of the things that we had to come up with a way to get into the classrooms is to make sure that every child had access to their library. And we all know that it's not necessarily a top priority for parents to take their students in and sign them up for a card. Libraries, unfortunately, have an image of being a little intimidating to some parents. And we thought that we might be able to meet this head on by designing special cards for students. With cooperation from the school districts, we have participated now in the Library Card Challenge, which is a nationwide initiative started by the Urban Library Coalition and supported by the Institute of Museums and Library Sciences. And we introduced a student card that can be processed through an agreement with the schools. And every student enrolled in their district is given a library card number that will allow them to access KDL's physical materials. If they were to go to the branch, they can check out up to 3 books at any time. They can get online to our databases and use all of our e-resources that we subscribe to and offer to the public for free. So they can search for things in Encyclopedia Britannica. They can go on our culturegrams. They could use Little Pim and start learning a new language, all just by entering that library card number into our research databases. And we also will let them access the ebooks with our cloud library app. So that's something that children these days all have a device in their hand. We want them to know that they can get as many things as they could possibly want to read with that library card number. Yes?
Do you know if this is something that is statewide? Because I've been asking my local libraries to kind of do the same thing. And I don't know if it's a computer issue or where the problem is, but it doesn't seem to be quite so easy. And I didn't know if this was going to be something.
This is something we, actually one of my coworkers, she came up with this idea. We work in Tri-County Schools District, and Kent County Library System, the Kent District Library, serves some of the township that the Tri-County students live in. Others are just over the county line, and so there was this big confusion over where to go to get your library card, and a lot of parents wouldn't drive students in to get a card anyway. And we started going out to the schools, and these kids were so excited by the book talks that we did. I want to check it out. I want to check it out. If I can get my friend to drive me over, can I check it out? And at that time, our point was you had to have an adult sign on as guardian in order to check out even a book. And we developed a proposal to say, why can't we work with the schools to let these students sign up for a card on their own? It would give them access to just books. If we lose a book because a kid wants to keep it, oh my goodness, that's actually a good thing. We brought it to the board, and luckily KDL's board is very forward-thinking, and they said, yes, one of the things that we want to remove is barriers that allow students to get information. And this was one of their biggest barriers. So we were given permission to create this student card, which was essential to being able to participate in the Library Card Challenge. We reached out to the Urban Library Council, which we're members of, and they said, yes, this gets you on board. And then we reached out to the school districts and the local governments and said, if you guys will sign on with this memorandum of understanding that your school district is going to participate, then can we make cards for your students? We reached out to Godwin Heights Public Schools because they are urban school and in a lower socioeconomic level and not necessarily getting the resources they needed to get their kids reading. And they were more than willing to jump on board with us. They signed the agreement, and we developed these cards for the students. And we have come up with a rotation of sending out tips to parents and teachers quarterly throughout the year to make sure that the kids know what these cards are good for, the teachers are incorporating it into the classroom, and to keep the parents aware that their students now have access to a library. They can go check out books. In high, migration areas with people might not necessarily feel comfortable coming in as an adult and signing up for a library card, but their students need access to that information. And so if they know that their kid can go into the library and check out books, then they feel more comfortable bringing them in the first place. Kelloggsville Public Schools, we just established another branch of Kent District Library in the school. And of course, that made perfect sense to collaborate with them and give every one of their students a library card. And that has just been growing like weeds. I mean, we have kids so excited about the library system there, and the public too, because it gives them access to the library after school hours. Our next big thing, Kentwood Public Schools, there are 8,000 students there. It's been taking a bit of computer power, but we have just gotten all of those card numbers processed, and that will be rolled out, I believe, in the fall. Our next list, Kenowa Hills Public Schools, Kent City Public Schools. So we've got both urban and rural schools that we're reaching out to. The access issues might be for different reasons, but they're still the same. When you are in a rural area without transportation, without Wi-Fi, you are not getting access to those resources. So as we reach out to the schools, we are getting that agreement with the administration of the school district. We're processing the information, keeping all the students' private information private, and allowing them access. Then when we do that, the kids will be more aware of their public libraries. The teachers will be more aware of the ways that they can bring the library into the classroom, which is what I'm going to move on to. Our collection that they will have access to. We have over 50,000 titles geared at children, and that's just the physical books on the shelf. We have also developed our KDL Story Compass, which is a database created by KDL staff that identifies book by genre or read alike. So we are adding to that every week. We're adding titles, so if somebody finds new books that they can say, this is a mystery, this is a thriller, this is World War II fiction, and oh my goodness, do kids love those stories. We can go on there and type in either a genre, an author name, or a title, and generate a list of other books that the student might like. And that is available. I will caution you, it works best with Chrome. It doesn't seem to like our clunky Internet Explorer, but if you access the Story Compass, you can also find read-alikes for your students. Our cloud library is the newer ebook app that we have incorporated, and it's an excellent choice because it also allows interloaning from other cloud library sources, so libraries that have signed on to that will share their ebooks if they're available. And it's very easy to download to Android, Apple products. If you have one-to-one devices and each of your students has a library card, during that free time or reward time where they get to use those devices, they can get on and pick out new books to read. The parent resources we purchase specifically for homeschooling, for parenting, for medical books that talk about how to work with children with ADHD or autism. So there are sources for parents to learn more about how their child learns. And those are great things to go. Lindsay brought up the Literacy Go Packs. A few years ago, we developed Game Go Packs and STEM Go Packs. Did you have a question? Oh, I thought you had your hand up. The Go Packs are something that are available at all of our branches and can be checked out with your library card. Right now we have ones for like Codapillar, so preschool coding for computers. We have Little Bits, which talks about electronic components and circuits. Snap Circuits is another very popular one. But then we have things like our games, Apples to Apples, maybe something that a parent has never thought about playing with their child, but if they see it on shelf at the library, they take that home. And that's kind of the model for the Literacy Go Packs. We will be adding titles that support the 5 main components of the IRP phonemic awareness, phonics, etc. And we'll be putting in games that support, if you're using like the Adley method or if you're using sequencing cards, we're going to include that in the pack. And the kids will be able to keep that at home, go through the titles, play the game with their parents, practice those skills, and it will be a great resource for the parents as well as even teachers. If you say, hey, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the kids next week, hey, look, let's check out this pack. The tagging in our catalog is just a blessing to librarians, first of all. When we saw the IRP form that parents may come in with, they're going to get this prescription to read and need to help their child. We thought, how can we do this? Well, the way we have created our collection in our online catalog, it allows us to add notes to each record. And we thought, what a simple method to help librarians, to help parents, to help teachers. We now included IRP plus the tag, whether it's fluency, vocabulary, comprehension. There are now over 1,000 titles tagged. We've gone backwards through items that we already owned. And every new book that's purchased is assessed for inclusion in that tagging system. So if you go to the site and you type in IRP phonics, you'll get about 250 results. And that will just continue to grow as we add more resources to the collection. Book records, when you do that search, the publishers now know how important it is to get this information out to the teachers especially. But publishers are including information on Lexile score for the title or inclusion in the AR programs. And we have designed our catalog to filter for that. So if you're looking for books at a certain Lexile level, I know that's not necessarily how the school ranks reading, but it is a good tool that can be matched to any of your reading programs that you are using. You can search by Lexile score. You can search by AR book level. You can also limit it to the shelf location. So if you have a second grader, our ER books, our easy readers, would be the perfect match for your student. You could pull up IRP, fluency, ER shelf, and find what titles are available and even which branch is closest to you if you wanted to reserve some of those titles. Let me see. I'm talking faster than I planned, but let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I was writing notes. The next goal in our partnership, I had talked about wanting to teach the teachers. And I love it that you guys were excited to invite us to your teachers' in-service training, staff training, meetings. We want to know what you guys need. And inviting us out to talk with you at trainings is the perfect way to let you know what resources we have available. The databases that KDL offers on our website, the majority of them are available through mel.org. So even if you're not in the Kent District Library Service area, these are available to you with your Michigan driver's license or any other public library in Michigan. You can access Novelist K8, which gives, similar to our Story Compass, it generates book lists. And what I really appreciate about the younger level of Novelist is you can use words that your kids are familiar with. So you ask your student what they liked about a book. And they might say, well, it was easy to read. But they are also going to tell you it was magic. There was a lot of magic in this story, and I was really excited. You can put in keywords and search for books at their reading level and generate a list of titles so that when they go to their library or when they log on to their device, they can search for those titles and add them to their reading list or download them to the app. We have research and context, opposing viewpoints and context. Those are essential for helping middle school and high school students write a good report and understand differing points on everyday issues that they're going to hear about in the news. Britannica has the entire level from elementary, middle school, and high school. And it also has, I believe, 200 and something pages of teacher resources. If you get into Britannica's database, you can create a user profile and you can download lesson plans that have been created by teachers all around the country. And you can create your own lesson plans to share with them as well. The Scholastic Book Flicks. For the younger students, if you do have one-to-one device time, that is perfect because it pairs fiction titles with nonfiction titles. They are working on vocabulary at the same time as it's really appealing to their love of a title. So if they see that there's a magic book matched to something that has to do with everyday science, they're going to be more excited to find books and better able to identify the features of text that they enjoy, which is essential for them going, I need something new to read, and this is what I like, and they're going to take ownership of their reading habits. So when we give them these tools, it empowers them to be better consumers of information. It makes your days easier because we give you tools that you can help share this love of reading with your student. And it also makes them aware of the resources in their community that are there for them, free for the taking. So, are there any questions for us? I've included both my email and Lindsay's email up here, as well as the main number to the library. That takes you to our patron services department, and they can transfer you to any department or any branch. So if you have a local branch, I know our Kentwood people make great use of their library already, but if you're in Kent City, if you're in Alto, and you want to find out who can I talk to at my local branch to collate a collection for some project that the students are going to be working on, you can talk to anybody at the patron services department, and they will direct you to the best resource. Otherwise, on that brochure, there are all of the contacts for our outreach department, and we will make sure to book somebody to get them to any of your meetings, any of your trainings that you would like us to be at. Questions?
Does anybody want to see how? Oh, Becky. This is if you're in the city of Grand Rapids, you're part of the Grand Rapids Public Library system, so it's different. So you would contact Grand Rapids Public Library, but we'd be happy to get you connected to the right person. If you accidentally contact us, we've got a close relationship with Grand Rapids Public Library, so we can connect you with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they are fully aware of the training that we're offering, and they are on board with it. So if you contact us, even if it's not accidentally, you just say, I don't know who to talk to, we have contacts at Grand Rapids Public that we will get you in touch with, and they will take over and make sure that you're getting the information you need for the city libraries.
Based on Lindsay's request earlier around thinking of partnerships and how you might utilize the library and the learning you've just done, also I gave you the bit.ly, the bit.ly/LCN1718. I put the flyers that Lindsay looked at me funny on. Hey, aren't those available to them? So I put those in there. So if you want to visit that bit.ly, I'll go write it up on the poster board as well. But let's take 3 minutes, talk at your tables around what ideas are in your head now, having heard just some of these pieces, and then we'll circle back maybe with more ideas of what you shared out or further questions that may come from that discussion, and then they can even demo some of this. So let's take 2-3 minutes and do that question.
Can just share the PowerPoint with us?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'll have her share that with me as well, and then I'll put it into probably day 5.
Okay.
So once you get there, it's got like session 5 for day 5, day 4, day 3, day 2, day 1. But then there's the other below. I put it in the other below for the partners in success. You'll see those. But I'll put their PowerPoint on day 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right, go ahead. Have conversation in about 3 minutes. We'll come back together. And then conversations to a close. So if there were any ideas, thoughts, clarifications, go ahead, raise hands, and I'll let them speak to those, and then they're going to show you a demo and wrap up from there. So what might have come from your conversation?
Don't be shy. Anybody have an idea or a comment? Wow.
I just love the collaboration. I mean, it's really inspiring. I think a lot of times, I don't know, we're in a pretty rural area, and yet we have a library a mile from 4 of our 5 buildings. You know what I mean? So it's just that collaboration and those ideas really gave us a lot of inspiration. Some things we could even do in our own building with our own libraries, you know.
That's awesome.
Connecting with public libraries. So I just appreciate your commitment to public schools and that, you know, effort in doing something collaborative, because that obviously generated a lot of work on your part.
So to support that, it just made me think, when we presented down at Western at the Reading Now Network Symposium that happened in February-ish, there was a woman from Allegan there that suggested considering that, and I don't know what the library looks like there as far as like who the chief library of Allegan is and how it spans out, but I know there was an invitation from the folks representing the KDL at the time to say, let us know what you need to know about how we made this happen. We're willing to share that information. So I know there was at least interest. I don't know who the person was, but she was involved with the libraries in Allegan County.
And you're in Otsego, right? I remember you from my time in Allegan. We're really closely connected with Andrea Estelle, who is the library director at your library, so you can just tell her to reach out to KDL and she'll know what to do.
Good plug for Andrea. Yes?
I am just really excited. I didn't know about the games and the literacy things in the bag. Like, I'm like thinking at the end of the school year, those might be good things to do in the classroom and get the kids like, hey, you can check these out at the library. So
Definitely.
That was,
Many of the contents of our Go Packs include things that were big hits at our KDL labs. And our labs focus on, we call it STEAM, science, tech, engineering, art, and math. But we have done little bits as KDL lab programs, and those are a huge hit. We now have those available in Go Packs. We do snap circuits, the laser maze, so your engineering and your technology and things like that. And we're hoping that if you check them out and demonstrate them in the classroom, the kids will know that they're available at their library. Thank you.
There's also games for adults.
Yes, there are.
Anybody play Ticket to Ride?
Oh, that's the one I was trying to remember the name. Ticket to Ride is available. And
I first played Ticket to Ride and Catan.
Settlers, the Catan, yeah. Anyone else have a comment to share or a question on how we're moving forward with this? All right. If you want to take just a second up here on the board, I'm going to show how you can search our catalog. Even if you're not in the K service area, for you, if you aren't sure what would be a great title to support fluency, you could type it in, find it, and then get it on hold at your local library if it's Allegan or Otsego. So if I were to type in IRP and vocabulary, it's going to come up slowly with a list of titles, and there are 181 results that we have tagged so far, and a lot of them are going to be nonfiction titles, which is a higher standard vocabulary for the students, and you can scroll through those and find something that interests your student, or you can pull up one of the records and see what other information is available. So the word collector, I was intrigued by that title when I searched for these the other day. And this is going to have the general note, the publication information, and a summary of the title. And there are others that will include the Lexile score or the AR level for the title. Over here on the left of the screen, you can see that we can separate it out by library, the material type. So if you're looking for books, board books, chapter books, e-books and audiobooks are also available to sort. You can find the different languages available, subjects, and then the Lexile measures over here. So if you see that there are 3 of them at 420 level, you can include that in your search. And then you'll just have the titles that have been labeled to fit those categories.
And one thing that I always find helpful too, then, and I'm not sure if everybody knows about it, even if the book says that it's on shelf, you can just click there, place it on hold, and your local librarians will go and pull it off the shelf and then have it waiting for you. So you can just hold a number of books, and then it's just one quick stop into the library, grab them off the whole shelf, and ready to go.
Just to clarify too, it does not have to be a KDL library card. So if you are in Allegan but you want to swing by one of our southern branches to grab a title from one of our locations, you can place a hold with any library card in West Michigan. So Lakeland Library Co-op allows us to interloan items, and you can pick them up at KDL so that they're available immediately. Or you can request things from your home library's webpage, and they will bring them in using the MEL library system. Did I miss anything on that? As far as covering what the website can do, you can place holds. One thing that I didn't think to include earlier, but we do create book club in a bag collections, which has multiple copies of a title. One that might appeal to some of you is Wonder, with the popularity of that title. We have the book club in a bag, which has, I think, 15 copies of the title, along with reader's advisory discussion notes, so you can ask your student questions. And that way you have multiple copies if you want to do a book club with a reading group at your school. And you can check that out for 3 weeks, just like any other book that we would have.
And just because it's so cool, can you show them Story Compass?
Oh, yes.
Too?
And we're in Chrome already, so it will look pretty now. Oh, I also wanted to back up just a step before we go to Story Compass. If you're interested in learning more about the database subscriptions that KDL offers, if you go to our Learn and Research tab on the left, it will pull up an alphabetical listing of everything that we subscribe to. The majority of these titles are available through MEL, which means that any library card will give you access to them. However, if you use the KDL portal, it's going to ask you to confirm with a KDL library card number. So if you know that you have Allegan or Ionia County library cards, just start at mel.org, and they have a link for databases at their site. We do have a few that are specific, and that would be Mango Languages, which is an excellent source for learning languages. And along with that is Little Pim, which is directed towards children. It's the same learning software for languages. And Culturegrams is specific to KDL, which is a great way to study about different countries and the information, geography, all of those ideas. So we are going to back up just a step. And under our recommendations, we have book lists here if you're looking for ideas. And you can sort between the different categories. There are staff picks, which are just things that the librarians loved, and we create new lists, I believe, every month. And we have them separated out for adults, teens, and children. And on the right, you will see our KDL Story Compass. And this was the brainchild of somebody who said, I really want readers to be able to search things according to what they like best. And we have created this database of titles that belong to KDL, and you can separate it out by youth, teen, or adult. You can search for titles by a specific title or an author's name, or if you just let's put in mystery and see what happens. And you will see that it's separated out by very specific subheadings in some case. So if you really like the amateur sleuth or the mystery with a touch of comedy to it or the hard-boiled detective, you can find titles in these lists by the terms that you might use to describe your books. And then again, you can separate your results back by the age group that they're focused at. Any questions on any of that? I think we got 30 seconds left. If you have a question, ask real quick. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here and letting us talk to you today. We really had fun.